because of the fact that, Britain and Iran are not the best of friends, to put it mildly. And Iran is looking at ways of attacking dissidents, political dissidents who are based in the UK, attacking journalists and media stations that don't spew out the propaganda that they want them to spew out. And also, there's concern about Israeli targets and Jewish people in the UK as well. Now, we don't know what the targets potentially in these particular operations, and that will become clear, I'm sure, as the police sort of unravel this operation, this investigation, and gather the evidence that they need. The next few hours are absolutely critical for investigators. They've carried out some sort of quite dramatic raids, and footage of that has been posted online. We've seen, it would appear to be members of the armed forces supporting counter-terrorism police. That's quite unusual. But the really critical hard work begins now.
6 months ago, the director of MI5, Ken McCullum, said Iran was planning terror attacks on the UK. And now 7 Iranian nationals have been arrested in 2 counter-terror operations over the weekend. Police say the 2 operations were not connected. Let's talk to our Home Affairs journalist, Danny Shaw. Danny, hello, how are you doing?
Good morning, Kate. Hi.
Yeah, let's tell us, first of all, what you can about the 2 operations.
Well, these are 2 hugely significant operations that were launched on Saturday. We're told that they were separate, that they were not connected, although I suspect that the timing may be more than just a coincidence. In terms of the biggest operation, 5 people arrested, ages range from 29 to 46. They were detained in Stockport, Rochdale, elsewhere in the Greater Manchester area, and also West London and Swindon. And they're being held under the Terrorism Act 2006 and a provision of that act that makes it an offence to prepare an act of terrorism. We are told by the police that the investigation revolves around an alleged plot to target a premises believed to be in the UK. The police haven't said what that premises is, but clearly that is very significant. There are also reports today, not confirmed, but some reports in the papers that this was a plot that was reaching fruition. There was an imminent attack likely. Police obviously now trying to unravel all the details of that as they carry out their investigation. In the other operation, 3 men were arrested under the National Security Act 2023. They were detained under the part of an act which says that it's an offence to be involved in foreign power threat activity. And that can mean all sorts of things. We don't know exactly what it means in this particular case, but it can mean espionage, assisting a foreign intelligence service, sabotage, foreign interference. So helping a sort of foreign enemy or foreign power with illegal activity. That's essentially what that act does. And those 3 individuals are also being questioned. And the sort of common thread that runs through these 2 operations is that 7 of them, in fact, out of the 8 detained are Iranian nationals.
And 2 separate operations, though. It seems an incredible coincidence.
Well, yeah, I mean, the police are saying that they're not connected, that they were, on different tracks, different investigations involving different individuals and different evidence. But as I said, I can't believe that it's just a pure coincidence that they were both launched on the same day on Saturday. My hunch would be that they decided to do them on the same day because they were worried if news of one operation got out, then that might compromise the investigation into the other investigation in some way, because people would fear that they were going to be targeted as well, and that they would move or that they would hide evidence or so on. No confirmation of that's just my sense, because although we are seeing greater activity by law enforcement against Iranian nationals, to have 2 such operations on one day would strike me as more than just a coincidence.
Indeed. And the head of MI5, Sir Ken McCullum, has said since 2022, MI5 has responded to 20 Iran-backed plots or potentially lethal to civilians in the UK. I mean, what's the history of Iranian attacks here?
Well, he did indeed talk about unprecedented pace and scale of plots and planning. that is involving MI5 and other law enforcement agencies in the UK. We saw an attack last year, in March last year, you might remember, in London, where a man called Puriya Zirati, who's a journalist for Iran International TV, which is sort of an independent Iranian TV network that doesn't carry the propaganda of the Iranian state. He was stabbed in the leg last year. He's made a recovery, but quite a chilling attack. 2 Romanian individuals have been arrested and charged. A further man has been arrested. So court proceedings will be taking place, I believe, later this year.
And what do you think is behind this apparent uptick in plots being investigated? I mean, in the Middle East, Iran supports Hamas, Hezbollah and the Houthis, all targeting Israel. Are we being targeted because we are Israeli allies?
I think there's certainly a sense that has, upped the ante as far as Iran is concerned. Britain's support, in the Middle East for regimes that are against regimes that are supportive of Iran and against threats that are, potentially being driven by Iran. So that's certainly, I think, one aspect of it. But even before the October the 7th attacks, in 2023 and the upsurge in sort of violence in the Middle East, it was still a threat on UK soil that I think MI5 were beginning to detect, just because of the fact that, Britain and Iran are not the best of friends, to put it mildly, and Iran is looking at ways of attacking dissidents, political dissidents who are based in the UK, attacking journalists and media stations that don't spew out the propaganda that they want them to spew out. And also, there's concern about Israeli targets and Jewish people in the UK as well. Now, we don't know what the targets potentially in these particular operations, and that will become clear, I'm sure, as the police sort of unravel this operation, this investigation, and gather the evidence that they need. The next few hours are absolutely critical for investigators. They've carried out some sort of quite dramatic raids, and footage of that has been posted online. We've seen, it would appear to be members of the armed forces supporting counter-terrorism police. That's quite unusual. But the really critical hard work begins now, finding that evidence, looking inside those digital devices and computers that will no doubt have been seized to exactly find out who these individuals were communicating with, the evidence against them. Are other people involved in these alleged plots? Crucial work that begins now.
OK, we'll leave it there for the moment. Danny Shaw, thank you.